Within 6 months, I had launched my first product. Altogether, it was roughly around $10,000 to start my business. Probably my biggest worry even today is the manufacturer messing up. One black sports bra has done 90,000 in sales in 11 months. So just bet on yourself. If you have an idea, go for it.
Well, I just want to start out where you got started. Before you launched this business, where were you? What were you doing?
Well, I was kind of all over the place. I did a lot of sales in my 20s and early 30s. And when I became pregnant in January 2019, I said, honey, I'm not going back to insurance. I'm not going back to work. And so that kind of put a little fire in me. I mean, I always wanted to have my own business and work from home or the road. I mean, I had, several different ideas in my 20s. I actually used to travel around living out of my car and selling insurance. But so after I had my son, I started an online business and that was okay, but it wasn't very passive. I was always having to be on social media and talking to clients and selling and all of that stuff. And that's not what I want to do. I want freedom. Money and freedom. So I stumbled across Travis's YouTube video one day and I said, that's it. I said, that's how I'm going to create my freedom. And so I told my husband, and my husband's like, okay, I don't know anything about bras, but that sounds like it'll sell. So he said, yeah, do it. So I invested in the course, and within, I bought the course in September, and by March, within 6 months, I had launched my first product.
So it sounds like you kind of came into the course with an idea of what you already wanted to sell. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes, which was great.
Yeah. And how did you exactly come up with that idea? Is that something you always had in your head, or did it come to you one day?
So I was just solving my own problem, which is great with the passion product course formula, because a lot of us are just creating something that needs to be improved, or just something that we need to make our lives easier. And so
Totally.
It was just a frustration that I've had since I started wearing sports bras, since a teenager. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Cool. And what exactly did your product do that was different than everything else in the market?
Sure. So I don't know if you know anything about bras, sports bras in particular. So I was just solving my own problem, which is great with the passion product course formula, because a lot of us are just creating something that needs to be improved, or just something that we need to make our lives easier. And so
Totally.
It was just a frustration that I've had since I started wearing sports bras, since a teenager. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Pads in. So they're non-removable. They're completely permanent. You can throw the sports bra in the washing machine, throw it directly in the dryer, and not have to deal with the pads at all.
Very cool. Yeah, that's very innovative. So you had the idea already. You come into the passion product formula, and it seems like you got moving pretty quickly with the time between when you started to when you launched. So it sounds like things moved along pretty quickly. So the big hurdle everybody has when they have a product idea is obviously, how do I get this manufactured? It seems like you got an idea. Maybe it's a little complex. So what steps do you take to find the manufacturer and figure out how to get connected with that person?
So I really just use the resources that Travis gives us in his course. And I had Google searched a couple things, and eventually I was on Alibaba, and talked with a few manufacturers over there, and a bunch of them wouldn't sew the pads in for me, but I had one lady who did, and she sent me samples and we ran with it.
So your first manufacturer worked out, the samples came in good, and just went from there?
Yes.
Nice. It's always great when that happens and everything works out. So now that you've got the manufacturer worked out, and that's when obviously comes the time to make a pretty big commitment in placing that first order. It sounds like with everything you've done so far, diving into it, you were pretty ready to make that commitment, or was this a little bit of thought? Am I ready to put this much money into this?
No, I was ready because I knew I had a solid idea. I just know personally the frustration that women have with that, because we're always complaining about it. But furthermore, I went onto Facebook and I asked all my female friends, and I started a tribe right then and there, because women were like, hell yeah, I'm following you. I will buy your product.
Totally.
So I wasn't too hesitant to make that commitment. Probably my biggest worry even to today is the manufacturer messing up, 5,000 bras.
Right. That makes sense. So you were able to build kind of like a tribe or pre-launch group prior to even moving forward the manufacturing here.
Yeah, I think there was about 400 women in there that were supportive. I think now we have about 700. I haven't really been focusing on
Yeah,
growing it or anything like that, but I'm getting ready to launch some more styles and colors because I've really kind of figured everything out in these last 11 months to perfect the product and just everything that goes along with this whole business. And so, but they're all really, really pumped and excited for
that's
the
great.
next.
That's great to hear. So going back to that first initial production run, how much did you end up putting down to get this idea off the ground there?
So, altogether, it was roughly around $10,000 to like start my, business, my LLC, the samples, the first bulk order, the shipping, all of that. It was roughly around 10,000 that I invested.
So you went the LLC route. Obviously, the production run, that was a big chunk of it. In terms of like design and stuff, obviously you got the logo and branding design, but then you also have the product design here. Was that done by yourself, or did you outsource a lot of these things?
As far as the product design, I worked with the manufacturer directly, and we came up with a lot of those. I have a really nice contact there, Amy, and her and I go back and forth with the fashion team over there to like kind of perfect the product.
And then so logo designs also, that was outsourced?
Oh yeah, so logo I did what is it, 99 designs or something like that.
Oh, there. Sweet. Okay, so like to get you started off, obviously logo designs, you had working with the factory, LLC route, and then did you go with a trademark?
I did. Oh my God. That's been the most frustration. And it's not my own fault. So I chose a trademark and it's Rebel, REBL.
Okay.
And I saw that there was another trademark with Rebel,
Mhm.
but I spent weeks and hours and just trying to figure out that perfect name.
Yeah.
And everything's already taken in apparel. There's like a million apparel names. So I just said, basically, I said, screw it. I'm going to apply for Rebel so I can move forward and I will deal with this later when and if I am denied, I pretty much knew I was going to be denied.
Right.
So I was denied. So that was a waste of money and a waste of time, but it did get me moving forward because I was just getting so frustrated with it. And I was like, well, I can't order these bras and launch until I pick this name. And I'm not going to pick, QRSWVE, something that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, so I lost a lot of money on that mistake in the end because it's now, I launched March. September, I was denied. And in that whole time, I wasn't going to launch any new products because I wasn't going to build this whole inventory store on Amazon for all of it to be shut down once my trademark was denied. So I was waiting on that answer. But now I have a new trademark. It's Rezyle, REZYLE, and it should be approved. I've done a lot of research. And so that's where we're at with the trademark now.
Nice. Okay. So does that mean you had to pivot all of your products over to this new brand name, or where exactly does that stand?
Yeah, great question. So I did it strategically. So I knew I was screwing up, but I did it in a strategic way. I launched one product, just one black sports bra under Rebel. And I waited until I found out about the trademark being denied or not. And when I found that out, I then started researching a new name, came up with a new name, and I got a new logo from the same guy who did the first one. And I now have a new product with Rezyle on the way to my house from China right now.
Very nice. That's cool to hear.
Yeah. So I'm doing a purple sports bra Rezyle, and then I'm actually doing a bralette here in the next couple of days. I'm going to place that bulk order as well. So in the next 6 months, I should have probably 6 to 8 products.
Very cool. So like up until now, basically all your sales have come from that original product. Is that right?
Yeah. So It's just one black sports bra has done 90,000 in sales in 11 months. So we are on track to do 100,000 in the first year of business.
That's very cool to hear. That's a great launch. That's some very great results. I want to take that back a little bit to that first month that you launched. It sounds like you did a lot of things right in building up the pre-launch support group, and you had people ready to buy from the get-go. But imagine you get the product, get into Amazon and you launch, how did that first month go? Were there any problems that arose, or was it pretty smooth sailing from the beginning?
It was pretty smooth sailing. We did a little over 15,000 in revenue in that first month. So that tribe of women, they're just amazing. They really rallied behind me and supported me, and they shared it with all their friends and told their girlfriends and bought gifts for their daughters. Like, oh, my teenage daughter plays baseball. We need these. And so yeah, it was successful. It was really smooth. I've had issues with the product itself, from like the samples versus when I got the bulk order, and they were a little bit just like I told you earlier. My biggest worry is that they're going to screw up $10,000 worth of product, and they kind of have, but not like big enough to like ruin my business.
It was still able to be sold and get enough quality for that. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. So at the beginning, first month goes great. You've got the big support group ready to buy your product. Did you run any ads in that first month?
I did. That's one of the mistakes I did, was I did Facebook's ads. I'm not an expert by any means.
Sure.
And I just didn't know how the whole Amazon back end really worked. Like, I didn't know when I first launched that you can do a special link where you can track all the sales from that link. And so I wasn't really tracking the sales from my Facebook ads. I saw all these sales coming in, and like sales went up when I started this ad. And I was like, well, it's got to be the ad. We'll come to find out it wasn't the ad. And I blew like $2,500. So
yeah, there's definitely a big learning curve with all ads technologies and Facebook for sure.
Yeah.
So at least I can imagine it's a learning experience that you got learned some things from and able to improve from there.
Exactly. This year is going to be way more successful. Year one was good, but this year, I've learned so much through trial and error that all these next products and this next year and so on is going to be so much better. So
totally. So moving on from that first month, I'm going on from there. Month two, does the success from month one seem to carry over? Did any big things happen with your product and Amazon and anything?
Oh, that's so long ago. So yeah, the first few months went really good. I do feel like another mistake that I made was not like, everybody's like, oh my God, don't go out of stock on Amazon. Don't go out of stock. And it takes so long to get your product from China and to get it made and everything that at a certain point, because I had 2,000 sports bras and we were just flying through them. So then I raised the price.
Yeah.
Well, in the end, that probably wasn't the best thing to do, because sales declined and it just kind of carried over. So that was just a learning thing that I went through.
Totally. Yeah. Of course. I mean, with any product, I feel like it takes time to figure out how fast they're going to sell and what price is the most optimal for the marketplace.
Yes, I feel like actually just in the last month, I finally figured out the most profitable price, and it's been 11 months. So
there you go. Now it seems like at least you're set for going forward now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So continue over. I mean, it looks like, your sales continue to be good throughout the past year. Did anything happen? Those first few months went great. Learned a bit about shipping a bunch of inventory to Amazon, learned a bit about pricing it too hise. Those next few months after those first few, did things continue to go smoothly? Anything else major happen?
Yeah, not that I can think of.
Nothing. Okay.
Unless I wrote it on that sheet. Did I write something?
No, it's good. I mean, that's great to hear that everything continued to go so smoothly from there. So, I mean, we're getting close to a year now and already done over $90,000 in sales. Seems like you have some big products coming, and in terms of line expansion, getting your trademark in for your new name and the new brand you're building everything around. So it seems like those things are great. I know we talked about a couple in terms of sending too much inventory to Amazon and pricing correctly and trademarks. Is there any other advice or learning that you've made throughout this journey that you give to someone starting out?
I'm probably going to say something very cliche that most people in this seat say. Just bet on yourself. Just do it. If you have an idea, go for it. I remember many years ago when I got pregnant with my son and I said, I'm not going back to a real job. I wrote a note on a sticky note and I said, the worst thing that will happen is that you'll get another job.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a plan B.
No.
So you'll have so many regrets by not going after your dreams and doing the thing that in the back of your head that you really want to do and you should do.
Totally.
So yeah, just bet on yourself and take that risk and do it.
Totally. And going back to that, I know you said like you had this idea coming into the program. I mean, how long do you think you had this idea before before getting started with it to begin with?
Oh, years. I mean, yeah, years. I mean, I was wearing bras since I was a teenager and I was doing my own laundry since I was a teenager. So I know that I've had this frustration as long as, you know, I've been pretty much as long as I've been alive.
Right.
Um, but I just never really, I mean, I said, oh, I should fix this. I should create
Yeah.
this. I should do this. But I never investigated how I could do it until I saw Travis's course.
Totally.
Because I mean, I don't wanna be in Target or anything. Like, I'm not trying to go big. I'm not trying to make $50 million a year and have, 300,000 employees and all that stuff. I'm just trying to make a good income and have freedom and be with my family and travel and do fun stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, touching on that a little bit more. So obviously it sounds like you have got some expansion products coming up. So expanding the brand obviously seems like a big desire of yours. And what you just touched on there and going back to the beginning, I think you mentioned briefly, your big goal with all of this, is this just to achieve financial freedom, like you said? Do you have desire to build this brand and turn it into a bigger thing, or what are your big goals going forward?
So my goal going forward, obviously, I want to see a six-figure net income yearly from this, which totally see that happening in the next year or two. But the big goal and what I'm shooting for is to build this, scale this, sell this. I want
Yeah.
to be out in the next 3 to 5 years. So
So you're building to sell.
I'm building the sell, baby. Show me the money.
Yes, yes. Very nice. Well, I think it's very impressive what you've done and where you're heading with this. Yeah, it seems like you came into this with a great idea and took the steps to really get off the ground and build it to where it is today. And seems to be going to great places going forward.
Yes, thank you. Everything's
Yeah,
good.
I don't want to hold you any longer. So I appreciate the time and I appreciate you telling me and walking me through your story today.
All right, Connor, thank you so much. It was nice to meet you.